Welcome back to CivilNet. We are going to continue to cover the Eastern Partnership Summit taking place in Vilnius, as well as the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum taking place in Vilnius. This is the second day for civil society, the first day, just a couple of hours really, for the actual summit itself. And we are going to continue to watch as our neighbors sign some important documents. My guest is Alexander Iskandaryan, who heads the Caucasus Institute. And with Alek, we're going to talk about all of the questions that we've been asking ourselves since September 3rd, beating ourselves on the head a little bit, wondering a little bit, how seriously does this change our direction, domestic as well as foreign policy. Alek, welcome. First, let's look at the picture from the outside in. Do you think that Russia will now continue on this path of trying to reestablish its presence among these 6 countries, or are Moldova and Georgia pretty much going to be left alone? Is it done? Did it make its point?
It's different with different countries. As for Georgia, I think really Russians don't have an instrument to push on them. They lost, Georgians lost what they could and couldn't. So the analogy of Georgia would be Armenia without Karabakh and, let's say, Syunik. If it would be without Karabakh and Syunik, we could go to not even association agreement and to European Union. Unit securities, you have your Karabakh with you, so you stay where you are. Georgia isn't. As for Moldova, they have parliamentary elections next year, and with great opportunity, with big opportunity, communists will come to power. We'll see what's going to be, because Russians can deal with them, and it will be.
After all, Moldova is only just initialing. Moldova
absolutely.
Is not getting married.
The main thing is Ukraine.
Yeah. And half of Ukraine. This is fascinating. This is a really interesting time when Ukraine's being 2 Ukraines is so visible.
Even more. You have Crimea, which is Russia.
3 Ukraines.
You have western part, which want to be a part of Eastern or Central Europe, and you have eastern part of Ukraine, which is economically with Russia. Politically, they don't want to be a part of this environment. So Ukraine will stay in between. That's what I'm saying. Yanukovych or somebody else will continue Ukrainian politics not to choose, because you don't have kamikazes. They should continue this.
What are we doing with our, what are the changes now in our, not just domestic policy, and we talk about that a lot, whether the levers for reforms have now decreased and so forth. What is this going to do about our relations with neighbors, with our neighbors' relations vis-a-vis us? Armenia's, you said Turkey isn't even there, but now in this new framework, outside of the European political framework, are our relations going to be different? Our foreign policy difference? Let me point out that Azerbaijan's foreign minister has gone up with Commissioner Füle. I assume this means that they're going to be signing the visa facilitation agreement that President Rompuy just welcomed. It's interesting that during President Rompuy's talk just a few minutes ago, Von Rompuy's talk just a few minutes ago, the first thing he mentioned was welcoming Azerbaijan, the visa facilitation, and then went on to welcome Georgia and Moldova. The other 3 names weren't even given, huh? It's very interesting that the timing of this is working out in many ways in Azerbaijan's favor. They're still there. They didn't come out as having said one thing and doing another. They said from the beginning, this is what they're going to do, and they've stuck to it. Here they are with the benefit of a photo opportunity mentioned in the president's speech, and the other 3 countries, Armenia and Ukraine, that struggled, weren't even there, and Belarus, of course, is on somebody else's list.
We did what Azerbaijan did now. We signed this agreement.
Yes, long ago.
Years ago. So now you have, I would say, 3 levels in Eastern Partnership. The lowest one is Azerbaijan and Belarus. They are non-member of WTO. They just cannot to be a part of this kind of things. The highest level is Moldova and Georgia. They are going to sign
And
or say.
Ukraine, technically.
Ukraine and us are countries which tried to do something and couldn't. So,
But let's make clear that today, Ukraine has already initialed the document that Georgia and Moldova will initial today.
yeah, I know.
So technically, the three of them are on the same level.
Technically, not politically.
Not politically,
Not
okay,
politically.
okay.
Politically, we and Ukraine tried to do something, and it failed. We couldn't. But papers are there. There was the agreement, which is more than 1,000 pages. We worked on it with European Union for 3.5 years. We couldn't sign it because of reasons which are connected with third countries, not with European Union and Armenia. But it exists, the text.
Alik, look, here's a historic moment. Catherine Ashton and the foreign minister of Georgia are going up to the signing table. They signed, technically, the thousands of pages of documents yesterday. They'll sign the cover sheet now. And Georgia and Armenia will be living in two different worlds from now on.
Georgia and Armenia live in two different worlds, last couple of thousand years. At least last 20 years.
There it is, there's the signature.
We are in different worlds, and we manage to live normally with each other, which is not bad, I would say.
Yeah, I'm being much more dramatic than you are. You're taking this much more calmly and saying that life will go on, we're just going to make a new sets of decisions.
I'm an old guy.
Me too, but I want more.
Okay, what I am saying, it's not about wishful thinking. It's about realities. The process will continue. The process will continue. I remember when we became member of UN, member of
Council of
Armenia,
Europe,
OSCE, Council of Europe, ENP, Eastern Partnership. It's just a way. It will be continued. It's nothing. It's not helter-skelter to know.
It is, but on the other hand, because politics is all perception, it's all perception. For 22 years, Armenia has benefited from the positive perception that Europeans have had of Armenia and Armenians for thousands of years. The perception is changing. The fact that you can have a huge, massive, high-level civil society platform meeting with a whole panel on Ukraine and a whole panel on Belarus and a whole panel on Georgia, and the rest of us don't exist. The fact that in this kind of thing, nobody is or gets mentioned. Armenia isn't even there in the president's speech. We don't get 2 points for having tried, as you said. Ukraine doesn't get 2 points for having tried. The perception has changed. That costs something.
We don't live for perception.
Oh, yes, we do.
No, we don't. You don't live for somebody tells something about you. A perception is important, absolutely. But if you have a choice,
and there's
you choose something. You choose something. You just have to do it. And I think I'm not sure about mass perception, public perception.
Moldova just signed.
Okay.
Just so you don't say you missed the historic moment. The women kiss, the men are just shaking hands.
Well.
See?
Yeah.
And there it is. These are the two countries.
Kind of gender balance there. I think, if not about mass perception, if about perception of decision makers, perception of analytics, perception of people who knows where is Armenia on the map, they understand everything. You just understand everything. It's
yes,
clear.
But Ukraine is also on the map, and Ukraine tried at least over the last 2-3 years to go the next step. The map isn't going to change, you're absolutely right, but something must change either internally, culturally. The president of Georgia is now addressing his colleagues, something must change either culturally or politically, because geographically it's not going to change. Something must change in order for the economic and political structure of our country to change sufficiently that development is real and deep and sustainable. The map isn't going to change. I give you that.
I'm a person that have seen how map changed for last part of my life, last 20 years. I was born in a country called Soviet Union, with GDR, with Yugoslavia, with Czechoslovakia, with such kind of things, and European Union, and at that time in Hamburg. Now it's near Minsk, it's in Tallinn. Map is changing. And what about Caucasus, what about Karabakh? What did it change? Etc. So it changed and it will continue to change. And you have projects, you have wishful thinking, but you have a reality as well.
The lines are changing, the map didn't change. The lines are changing, the dividing lines, and that's why I agree with you that all those things, I mean, obviously I agree with you.
Nature isn't changing, but map is something lined by people.
It's, we're going to see now during the plenary session what comments are made both by the countries that have chosen to go this next step and the rest. It looks like Catherine Ashton will be running the next session, and we will be following it, as well as the civil society platform, which is or is not connected yet